Hey Sam, how you going?
Hello, hello. Great
I
to
don't
see
even know
you.
when that started recording, so I was like,
Yeah, I know. I was like,
oh
I
yeah,
hit,
no, that's
yeah,
cool. We
it's
good,
all,
we good.
yeah.
Yeah, no,
Welcome back.
so
Welcome back.
exciting. We are
Yeah,
back again, guys,
yeah.
and
Episode 4.
episode 4. It's been a good few episodes, and we just love connecting, sharing, talking about what's on our heart. And what I love about this episode in particular is that we are going to hear from Tanya. So we did share in our previous podcast on filling your cup, and I really loved that I was just able to see the difference with what that looked like for me. So I guess now is the opportunity to sort of unpack that with Tans and see how this filling of her cup went in what she has been through this whole crazy year. And I love the fact that we both had such crazy years, so different, like different situations, but sort of the same kind of,
Navigation.
yeah,
Path. Yeah,
navigation, like, and struggles, but
yeah,
different situations.
yeah.
So it's good that we were able to stay connected. And sometimes we weren't, but we still were.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
No, no, yeah,
Um,
100%. Yep.
yeah. So I guess the question now for you, Tess,
Yep.
is how did you manage to fill your cup during the year that you've had with the unexpected situations that have just fallen into your lap, with, mum and dad being unwell and stuff and having to travel back and forth?
Mm-hmm.
To me, that, like, I was like fretting for you because I knew, I was like, whoa, that is huge.
Yeah.
I don't know how she will manage that. I just knew you'd come out the other end, but I'm just so curious to know how you were able to fill your cup during this year.
Okay. Um, this is a really, well, it's kind of a big question, but it looked different. So as we mentioned, I was back and forth.
Yeah.
I was back and forth a lot. I effectively spent most of this year really
Yes.
in Townsville, right?
Mm.
And but it was back in little pockets here. And I think each time the filling of the cup looked different.
Yeah. Yeah.
Didn't realize that at first though. So what I kept up my basics of like of a morning. My morning thing is get up and I actually listen to a devotional. I read some Bible plans and I do gratitude. Like I do that sort
So
of
there was consistency in your everyday routine, even though you were out of your own home, the comfort of your own home, and your own town that you reside in. Yet you
yeah.
still managed
I had a
to.
consistency from that of waking up in the morning.
Yeah.
What I didn't have a consistency in was which I tend to thrive from is like there's things that happen in my week, discipleship, church, or and obviously there's churches everywhere. Um,
Yeah.
there's not necessarily discipleship everywhere.
Yeah.
And I get connections from a lot of different
Groups.
groups and areas, right?
Yeah.
That obviously looked very different.
Mm.
Um, even church life looked very different. That was kind of in and out a few times, like as in I was like, I didn't know what it would look like. What like uh, my availability to just okay, mum, dad, are you good? Can I go? Like,
Yeah.
not that I needed permission. It wasn't about that. It was like,
You're just being mindful of, like, needing to be there for them in that time. Yeah.
yeah, and different things that were going on. Thankfully, we have online services, so I
Yeah.
plugged quite a bit to that. Um, and connection did look different at time, like, oh, sorry, connection looked different, obviously too, because I connected voice messages, obviously you and I, um, and and but the filling of the cup, I definitely moved my body, like I walked. It was like that was like a mental health thing. So it was a
Yeah.
physical
Yeah.
filling of a cup.
Yes.
I think last episode we were talking about at the end there that there's different tanks. There's spiritual, there's
Mental.
mental and physical. I nearly
Oh.
forgot them. So, I was making sure the physical cup was taken care of. Oh, bless me. Um, but the physical cup, like from moving my body,
Yeah.
the physical of looking after, like even being mindful of the food I ate and how I nourish my body, because that
Yeah.
takes all, you know, making sure that mentally I was feeding myself with the right stuff, just like my day to day. And here's what's interesting. Again, different
Yeah.
environment, different
Mm.
you know, being with my parents fully, like they listen to different things, they do different things. Like I'm now in a foreign environment, listening to stuff that I don't like, hearing, not listening to stuff that
Mm.
I don't listen to.
Yeah. Yeah.
Example, the news and that. I stopped listening to that 24, 5, 6 years ago.
Girl, I feel you. I did when I was like, last time I heard the news was when I was 5 years old.
Yeah, like I could, yeah, like that is like I don't need to hear that stuff. That BS. Like
That crap.
yeah, that crap. Let's be
Yeah.
real. Um, like if something bad is gonna happen, like as in that we need to hear about, we hear it. It's fine. Calm your farm.
Mm.
I don't need to know.
Mm.
Um, so I had to really navigate what I was listening to. So filling my cup, that area. And one thing I did notice, in um one of the times that I hadn't picked up on, and it was almost, I don't know if it was midpoint. I think it was midpoint. And I was like, something's not right. Like, and I think we've discussed this before, where you're like, I'm doing the things, but I still feel like it's not right. I'm not filling myself, like I'm not filling my cup enough.
The alignment, it just feels out of balance sometimes.
Yeah. And I was
Yeah.
like, what is going on?
Yeah.
And I think the other thing too, I was having I think I spoke about this one other time, where I had a moment where I was like, I'm not, like I was being childish. I'm not that I wasn't
You can be childish, it's fine.
yeah, like I was
We're
like,
human.
okay, well, I
Yeah.
can't even remember, but so I was having a moment, and I ended up thankfully connecting with a very good friend of mine, Townsville, and we'd actually we went for a walk and we were having a good conversation, and I think we'd had a couple of conversations around this point, and I think I shared with her a couple of things of how I was feeling and what was going on and da da da.
Yeah.
And she was like, "Well, one of the things she said is she shared her experience, and then she said, "You're a worshiper too." And these probably are not the exact words, but long and short of it, you're a worshiper too. Have you been listening to worship music? Have you been listening to music? Like, where is that? And I was like, oh my God. And I realized that I hadn't done that. And there was just
Um,
like one or two things like that I hadn't done. I was like, hmm, okay, that's really cool. I'll give that a go.
yeah.
The first time I did it, I was like, oh my goodness. And then I just did it constantly after that. And I
Mm.
noticed like just that one thing.
Music for
Mate,
the soul, girl.
yeah. And I was just like,
Yeah.
oh my goodness. Like
Mm.
that was, and I think the other thing, I feel like there was something else I did too. But like you said in the previous, it's just sometimes just those small tweaks,
Yeah.
you know?
And I
Yeah.
think
That
that
that was
the
often different.
worship music was a small tweak,
Yeah.
right?
Yep. Yep.
And like I said, and that's the whole point of navigating life. And you're gonna constantly hit points where you're like, something's not right. And it's just adjusting little things.
Yeah.
So the fact that you were still able to be consistent in the habits that you already had when you were at home, but then you were also still able to connect with others, even though they weren't your everyday people in your like everyday life,
Yeah.
they were still people that have good values, you know. that
Yeah.
you could still trust.
Yeah.
You were able to pretty much spark ideas and go, hey, what about this?
Yeah.
So that's why we're so big on connection, because we can sometimes wander off
Yeah.
and be
100%.
lost. And it's good that we have redirection through people. So
Yeah. And because
we're able
you,
to
again, usually when I'm away, like I would connect in with a lot of people, have coffees, like, and
mm,
of course like the amount of things we were navigating was nuts. So
yeah.
like even catching up with my friend that I was talking about before, like that was difficult. Like
Mm,
trying to navigate both our schedules. Like I one of my I call her my auntie, like we often have a lot of time when I'm in Townsville. Like I'm like I see her as often as possible. We couldn't do that. Well, for starters, she's an
mm,
hour and a half away. But like and that also felt foreign to me because I was in this location and it looks so different than it had before.
mm,
So yeah, again, navigate it's like, okay, well, what does that look like? Again, bit like even this, like taking small pockets of time and go,
mm,
"Oh, I've got 5 minutes, I'll make that call, or I've got like
yeah.
try and do something to really
Mm,
help again, change that,
yeah.
help me.
And do you think also change of scenery somehow filled your cup because you were closer to, you love nature, so you were closer to the beach and you were just able to take in that beautiful breeze and just the views that you had, like, was very different to your everyday view, right? Even though it's beautiful here, but there was just
A
such
different
beauty
beauty.
in the view there that like you were able to really just soak that in because it
Yeah.
was refreshing and it was new
Yeah.
and it wasn't your everyday. So I feel like that in a way was also cup filling for you,
Actually, you're
just
right.
to
Yeah.
be able to have that walk. And I think that's what even encouraged you to even walk and to be active, was because like the scenery was just like too good to deny.
Yeah, and it was
Yeah.
funny you say that actually, yes. We were in it was like we had two distinct locations. Like first part of the year or the journey was in this kind of location, and the second part was in another location. So the first part was
Mm,
kind of city, beach, like close to the beach. Like I could walk, it was 2 blocks to the beach.
yeah.
I did this
Wow.
lap and I had Castle Hill and I had like it I could walk in the Botanical Gardens, Queen's Gardens, something gardens.
Mm.
And I just loved it. Like I was like, yes.
Is there
And I would
something about nature that lights you on fire?
it does. That's exactly and like because the other thing that fills my cup is motorbike riding and riding bikes, right? And of course, both of those things I didn't have.
Mm.
So the next closest thing to that
But
was
you were
walking.
outdoors and that's what you love. Yeah.
Exactly. So I was like, yes. And I remember being in the Queen's Garden particularly, and literally because there's some parks. I did this lap, I don't know how many times on a phone call. It was hilarious. If anyone had watched me, they would have been like, and I was literally,
This
and I,
girl last.
yeah,
Like,
yeah. I'm laughing and I was like, oh my God. And anyway, so that was one type of location that I was just like, and I thought I loved that, right?
mm. Just even the photos you were sending me, I'm like, dude, this place is freaking awesome. Like,
Oh, that yeah, but
soak it up and
I
you
feel
should
like
go.
I feel like the
Yeah.
second location was I even now, like I'm talking about it and I'm thinking about and it's like I'm there. It is I'm just I just want to squeeze it. I love it. Like so I'm probably gonna light up and be like, ah. But it was water. There was a path around like I could do a lap,
Mm,
which was hilarious because I was actually a little terrified to do that lap in the beginning, but that's another conversation. So we had water. The other thing that struck me about this area, like we were kind of in the thick of a suburb where there was um a massive shopping center and stuff.
yeah.
But I did not feel like that's where I was. I felt like I was
Mm,
somewhere else. It was quiet, even though you had sirens. Um, but there were these trees, right, that were just amazing.
I remember those you sent me. Yeah.
Yeah, and those trees, oh, the wisdom in those trees, and that correct, like, that's what really that grounded me, like
Mm,
it filled me. I felt like there was a healing thing in there. So not only for me, for my parents, there was just
mm.
so much in that. Like, yeah, but
That's
I could talk
beautiful.
on and on and on and on. So about that place. But
Yeah.
I hope that's given you some insight into like how
Yeah.
it looks different. Like
I
I
think
definitely soaked up
what
that
you took
nature,
from,
but
well, what I took from that was the way that you were able to fill your cup was, I think you mentally chose that even though the situations weren't expected, that you were still going to be able to ground yourself in some form of consistency. Your morning devotion was a big one,
yep,
moving your body.
yep,
Like those helped you be consistent in, and like standing firm in like where, whatever that looked like. You were in the storm, right?
yeah, that's
But
right.
you didn't get distracted with the things around you. You stood your ground. And I think
Yes,
that's huge because we all need to be questioning, what are we choosing in our storms?
yeah,
Right. And that makes a huge impact on where we're at. So
exactly.
that's
Yep,
exactly how you because you prioritized you.
yeah.
How you pick up.
And because I did that, I was able
Mm.
to serve
Show
and
up for them as
show up for
well.
them,
Yeah.
and it literally be a calm experience. Like
Mm.
it was calming for them, it was calming for me. Like, yes, you have your moments from a tired perspective, but
Mm.
I know that could have looked very differently.
Yes,
So yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
And I think that we just need to normalize the fact that life's tough.
Mm. And
And
look, we did,
every day there are going to be things that we don't, obviously, we're not going to agree with. But
yeah,
that doesn't change the fact that we still choose peace. We still choose to fill our cup, no matter how that looks. It helps us to be grounded at the
yeah,
end of the day. Yeah.
100%. Yeah. And that's not even trying to hide emotion either. So
Mm.
if there's emotion in that, yeah,
There
yeah, you
was a
cry.
lot of emotion.
Yeah, like,
Yeah.
but it's different. It's you still feel, you cry if you need to,
Yeah.
whatever.
You still
But
struggle.
you're right. It's coming from a totally different perspective and a attitude and
Yes.
yeah, it's very solutions driven. It's very
Mm.
peace driven. It's very
Yeah.
positive driven. I don't know how else to
Yeah.
put that, but yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So thank you.
Wow.
Thank you.
That was so good. I loved that. And I think that was inspiring to me as well. Like when you were away, it's like, wow, this girl is literally on fire, regardless of what's going on. Like she's still loving her walks. She's still staying connected. She's still like when I call you, oh, I'm doing this, or I was gonna eat out, but I ended up eating at home. Like when you were at in the hotel or something making dinner. It's
Yeah.
like, wow, like that's the key to
Yeah.
filling your cup is literally doing it.
Yeah.
But also you're in my shoes, giving yourself permission to do it.
Correct.
There's like different approaches to what that may look like, what hurdles you have to jump through in order to then start that journey of what filling a cup looks like.
Yeah.
But girl, that is exactly, this whole conversation is exactly what I needed to hear, because it goes to show that there's hope,
Mm,
right? And we don't have to be the victims of situations. Regardless of what happens, we can still choose us. And that's what it looks like.
yeah.
And
100.
even though it wasn't easy, and it still
Yeah.
isn't, everyday life is not easy. So
No.
if you had two things, or if you had any advice to our everyday people in terms of filling your cup, what would it be?
I think you obviously have to have ask yourself, what do you need? And I think as best as you can adopt your normal what fills your cup at home
Mm,
into wherever that other wherever you are, um definitely do that. But also again, the whole connection with like if I hadn't have asked my friend, I would have been stuck. Like,
Mm,
I think that like having those conversations really helped me,
yeah.
like, oh my God, that got me through like another phase. So
Mm.
having that
Well,
conversation.
that's exactly how you filled your cup. You connected with someone. Yeah.
Exactly. So it was another filling cup connecting,
Yeah.
but then trying to solve another problem of what was going on. So
Yeah.
I think it's about not doing it alone, but also
Mm.
again asking, well, what do I need in this moment? And
And I guess being okay with asking for help.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, definitely be okay with asking for help. And I think also being super flexible, because that's the other massive thing. I
Mm.
never had a routine. I okay, you can have a routine to a point. So it's
But then
being
because every day looks different, right? You've got to,
you've got to pivot, but it's like
yes.
I had to work out what were my like not negotiables that I needed to, from a filling cup perspective, that I
Mm.
needed to kind of make in every day or every second day or whatever. What does that look like tomorrow?
Yeah.
Okay, I really want to get a walk in. That takes about this long, or the minimum is this. Where can I make that happen? So I
Mm.
really had to forward plan. Um, and that's not forward plan to be fixed about it. It was forward plan to know, like,
Have vision.
yes, the vision of like making this happen.
Mm.
Um,
So you're
obviously,
just not
make,
guessing
yeah,
along the way.
yeah.
Yeah.
Again, it's an intention, right? Like it's an
Mm.
intention, just like you have an appointment with a doctor
Yeah. Yeah.
or whatever. It's I'm setting an intention, an appointment for myself, wherever that
Mm.
slots in, and make it happen. And even if I think you said last time, like start small,
Oh,
like even if I wanted to do an hour walk and I knew that wasn't possible, I could do 5 minutes.
exactly.
I could go out and clear my hair for 5 minutes,
Mm.
make that happen. I needed to make sure, even with certain phone calls, obviously connecting with my husband and daughter, like,
Yeah.
so yeah, I don't know. I hope that helped, because I don't know.
Yeah.
It,
Honestly, I
just
love how
know it
we can
doesn't look
both
the
unpack
same.
what filling our cup looks like because at the end of the day, I mean, we're two different people and it's going to look different for us both in different seasons. So, I mean, yours was
Navigating it.
consistency in certain areas, and what I focused on was literally that solitude, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and obviously you had moments to do that, but I mean, that was my main focus. So it's good to see the difference. Everyone's cup is going to look different, like filling
Yeah.
cup. So
Yeah.
that's so cool. It's so exciting. This is what we love. What we love to unpack, get deeper, get to
Yes.
the root of the topics that we want to speak about. And honestly, we could speak about all these topics like till the cows come home.
Yeah, I was gonna say we could keep going.
Mm,
But
but we'll
yeah,
leave it for now, and
yes. Hope you enjoyed the
we're
episode, and
excited. We'll definitely look forward to our next episode and what that's about.
yeah, have a great day or
Um,
night or wherever you are.
I
Bye.
don't know, could be any time of the day.
Could be anytime. Yeah, that's right.
Peace.
Bye.